Today, we're going to be looking at an important aspect of applied data science. So it's expected that those of you in this class should have had basic understanding of Python programming. And if you've not had a basic understanding of Python programming, then you should look at previous courses or recorded video where we talked about the fundamentals of Python programming. So um, basically, we're going to be using Python for most of the things we do. There are several other aspects of data science that most people don't talk about. Yes, everybody talk about data analysis, machine learning. There is also geospatial analysis. There is also geospatial mapping. You could also do some of the things you do with Python in the area of statistics with arrow programming as well. Okay, but Python programming has several libraries that makes it a choice programming language. I would start with looking at the IDE. Here we have this Python program on Visual Studio Code. Okay, I believe you're familiar with this. In case you don't want to use this, you could also use PyCharm or Anaconda. As a matter of fact, Anaconda is okay. The Python libraries are already installed. But with the VS Code, we need to do a pip install to install some of the libraries that we use. Now, this is a program showing geospatial mapping, okay? Just to show you a few understanding into how deep we'll go in the learning. I'm going to run this program. To run a Python program, of course, you already know, you go through your console. And you should ensure that the libraries you're working with, you use the import statement to import them, and you should make sure that they're already installed in either you're using a virtual environment or you're just coding directly. Okay, make sure they're installed. We have Python. I want to run this map5.py. It's working with the sampling points to create the geospatial map. See that? This River Ethiopia, yes, showing 3 sampling stations. Okay, with this we could create geospatial maps like this. Okay, like this, with Python, like this. You understand? So Python has several applications. So the beginning of our understanding of data science is our manipulation of data. Okay? Of course, you understand that data can be structured or unstructured. Unstructured data is data that is not, it's not organized. Yeah, it's not organized into rows and columns. Yes. The ones that are structured are organized in rows and columns. Most of the time, we're working with the data that are structured. And if they are unstructured, we organize them. Okay? So in professional data science, we do not just rush to clean the data first. We try and inspect and understand what the data is all about. Yes, cleaning of the data is one of the things we start with before we rush into doing our analytics. Okay, but we should still try and inspect and understand the data. So I would share the data set to everyone. I hope we're following.
Yes, sir.
Our goal is we're going to be looking at loading data sets, understanding structure, identifying target variable, and inspecting data types. Okay?
Okay, I'll continue from here so we have a clearer vision of my code. Okay, first, remember we're looking at loading the data set, and basically we're using 2 libraries. We're going to import pandas as PD and import numpy as MP. Pandas is an important library, a Python library for tabular data handling, and numpy is for numerical computing. So when we import this library, we use it this way. Now, if you don't have pandas already installed, you have to pip install pandas and also numpy. Otherwise, it will give you, the code will give you an error. You have an error with your codes. Okay, so the df, okay, df pd.read underscore csv, okay, calls out the data set we're working with. The data set is in the same folder with this Python file saved as import.py. Okay, so the df.head shows the first 5 rows. Okay, so if we run the program, okay, to run the program, we'll go to our terminal, okay, terminal here, and we'll say Python uh, imports.py, because that's the Python file, okay, and it shows us the first 5 rows, okay, it shows us the first 5 rows of the data set. Now, another important thing we must do is to look at the shape of the data set. Okay, we could do that using the df.shape. Let's have our rows, comma, columns. Let it be equal to df.shape, the data frame shape. Okay, so how can we get the shape? We'll now say print rows, and we'll also say print column. This would print out the shape of the data set that we are working with. So if we go ahead to say python import.py again, we would have it all spelled out here. We have 1020 rows and 10 column to work with the data set. Okay, another important thing we should do is to inspect all of the column names. Now we could do that from here. We do not need to open, as professional data scientists, we could do everything we want to do with Python programming. Okay, so we can say df dot columns, df dot columns. Now I could say print df dot columns dot to list. So this function here prints the headers of each column. So if we run the code again as well, would have it all spelled out. We have patient ID, age, gender, chest pain type, resting BP, and every other header for the data set. Okay, now we also need to identify features and target variable, for the sake of moving further into machine learning. Just know that heart disease will be our target because we're looking at heart patient. Okay, and also every other input apart from the heart disease will be used for prediction. Okay, inputs like age, like we have here, age, okay, cholesterol, um, 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 chest pain type, okay, and every other one will be used for as input for prediction. That would be as feature X. Okay, I will explain that later when we go deeper into machine learning. Now for Y, that will be our main, what we want to predict, which is the heart disease. The heart disease there is also a column. Okay, all right, another important thing we'll do is also to inspect data types. We need to inspect data types. Now this is extremely important because wrong data type gives bad analysis. Example, age should be numeric. We need to check and be sure that all of the ages are numeric, okay, by using df.dtypes. Okay, so if we check through, we should be able to know if there are any irregularities with the headers and the values in each rows. Okay, so I think at this point I would end this lesson. So we'll continue from here and we'll dive deeper into applied data science. Thank you.